Okay, everything. We have descended all the way to 215, and it doesn't appear that we will stop now. At 240, it will be farewell. But for now, we are at 215. Does it appear to be an even better purchase? The stock market supply and demand curves have flipped. At higher prices, demand is higher, and at lower prices, demand is lower. Naturally, this is due to fear and greed. It is much more difficult to purchase stocks when there are warnings of impending recessions and doomsday scenarios. Diminished revenues due to financial crisis or pollution in the water. In all honesty, I haven't bought any jumps yet. I'm still waiting to see how things play out. I had previously stated that I would probably start purchasing some when the stock price reached roughly 220. Most likely the general markets are down, and many other tech stocks are as well. But Tesla really got slammed. Yes, it did get pretty high at first, but it was probably an overreaction at this point. There are looming issues with the Chinese economy right now, of course, which is putting pressure on Bitcoin, which has also been squeezed, briefly reaching $25. Yes, there is fear in the markets right now, but anything can happen. Sentiment can change quickly and is always very erratic. However, this is not a channel about trading Tesla. You should buy on the way up, not the way down. To assist you decide if now is a good time to buy or not, I prefer to discuss the short-term effects of current events. After all, what would be the purpose of this channel if I could just post one tweet or X and tell you to hold off until 2030? Even though we can't control the stock price, we can control our emotions and how we respond to any significant drops in the price. It helps to try and get clarity on what is going on. I like to understand the economy and the electric vehicle (EV) industry. I find it interesting and love to discuss it with as many people as possible. However, I think we can simplify it fairly well. You'll probably hear this because you think the electric vehicles, EVs, are the future, or, at the very least, they will have a significant impact on the auto industry and gain a significant market share. Many consumers aren't ready to make the switch, but the popularity of EVs is still growing and will eventually spread throughout the industry. Additionally, owners of Model 3 and Y will eventually is providing an incentive to upgrade. Sure, technology hasn't changed much in the last 5 years, and hardware has only seen minor advancements. However, if the Highland receives a makeover, many people will probably be motivated to upgrade, especially if the rumors about the new battery pack, which is expected to have a range of over 300 miles for a standard rear-wheel drive Model 3, turn out to be accurate. Remember, this is a difficult time for the car market, with rates where cars become more expensive. It's as simple as that. However, despite Tesla adjusting their prices to offset the additional interest cost, Tesla is still making good profits. Now, if you talk to bears or BYD investors, they will tell you that we are wrong in one way or another, and that BYD is further ahead on vertical integration and selling more EVs in China, among other sorts of cherry-picked information to deter you as a Tesla investor. In order to compete with Tesla, other companies are subsidizing their vehicles to their customers. Some of them are losing over 6 figures per vehicle. Even at that point, I'm stretching the definition of competition, because, for starters, their numbers and vehicle quality aren't even close to Tesla's. In addition to producing the most popular EVs, Tesla also produces the most popular vehicles overall, so something must be wrong. As we've already mentioned, the industry is still expanding, and so is Tesla's production. Between 500 and 600,000 Model Ys can still be produced annually, though this may be difficult to push given the current state of the economy and the fact that these factories are officially limited by the sale of. If Tesla were to raise production to this extent, the supply of cars they have available would probably have to be matched by further price reductions to meet demand, at least in the current market economy, where there is a need for EVs, and, of course, advertising. I believe Tesla ought to be investing $250 million annually on advertising if they want to do it right. Every chance I get, I talk to people about Teslas and electric cars in general, and they just don't get it. There is still a lot of consumer education to be done. And for all the households that own 2 cars or more, a significant number, there are a few reasons why they don't have at least one of them. One of the reasons is that while the infrastructure for electric vehicles is still developing, we might have twice as many superchargers in a few years, which will affect demand. Since many of you listening now own a Tesla, you don't need to be persuaded of how much superior it is to everything else. I was on the Big Island in Hawaii last week and was renting a Jeep. It was so basic when compared to a Tesla, and I bet the Tesla model, I likely cost less, especially with tax credit and fuel savings. And I'd say like for like. But obviously, the Tesla would still be quicker, more luxurious, and have all those great tech features that no other vehicle has yet to offer to the same degree. Yet Jeep are still in business, people are still buying them, of course. Jeep are too, trying to make electric versions of their cars, and losing a fortune doing so now, although the stock price is not hanging around 300 anymore, and back closer to 200. There's no reason for any concern. I can see we haven't had any major issues. I mean, a lot of this all started when we were told the factories were being shut down, which we don't even have all the information yet, and many bulls perceive this as good news anyway, as it's a chance that when they reopen we may see the Model 3 Highland, of which more photos are circulating seriously. We're seeing physical proof of the novel Model 3. Surely this is likely to appear sometime. The factories will close down and all existing Model 3 inventory will be exhausted. Then Tesla will announce an event of the Model 3 Highland first deliveries. Or something will be given all the new specs and features of the car, and demand will increase and possibly prices too, and costs should reduce, so margins should definitely move in the right direction. But to still the limelight of that, we also have the Cybertruck delivery event sometime too. These two events should bounce stock price bank. It would appear that between 200 and 300 is an air pocket in the stock price, so it wouldn't take the market being too bullish to get it back there again. Supposedly also getting FSD version 12 sometime soon, which is meant to be a step change in performance, all big catalysts for the stock price in the near future. But the company will be a very different company by around the end of 2025, when we have the Gen 3 vehicles in high volume production, and hopefully some advances in Tesla in-house cell production too, along with a good chance that interest rates have finally come down since the Model Y. Tesla has, in a sense, not shown us any new products. Instead, they have grown into a massive corporation with virtually limitless resources, and they have been using that time and energy to study and develop the best products, such as this new Generation 3 vehicle. And the extra seating does come at a price. The 7-seater Model X costs an extra $3,500, and the 6-seater Model X costs $6,500 more. The 7-seater Model Y costs an additional $4,500. But you may be eligible for the federal tax EV credit to help offset costs. Consider purchasing a used Tesla if you're searching for a more cost-effective way to obtain a higher capacity model. Of course, the Cybercheck. As a result, there hasn't been a need to release any new products because the demand for the current models has been so great that they have consumed current supply. Supply would have been in competition with Tesla if it had introduced any new goods sales. But there will also be a new Cal LFP cell factory to support the fab in Mexico. Cybercheck will have the Cyber Sale, and Panasonic's 4680 will grow. Texas and Berlin will grow with the ramp from the 4680 sales. As I frequently say, this is a growth company, but it will take a long time. And during that time, a variety of things will happen. Tesla will fluctuate in and out of the market, which will affect the stock price. Nevertheless, things are moving forward, even though I really hope they break ground in Mexico soon. In the meantime, we should have some good events coming up. Thank you for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe.